life isn't going to go the way we want it to go. We're always going to go through some type of obstacle or tribulation to stop us from where we're trying to get. So it's really just more about how you go from it, and not about how you think of it too much. Because let's be real, you probably been through situations where like you didn't have time to think, you didn't have time to be sad. That's what thriving is. Like you're probably in a tough position where you got to figure it out. So, I've been through some positions like that, but I just had to thrive. I had to kind of put my feelings to the side and said, man, forget it. Let me just keep pushing and moving forward.
Welcome to 10 years of long-term, life-changing legacy of Elevate, a special series celebrating a decade of impact with Elevate Indianapolis. Since 2015, we've built long-term, life-changing relationships with urban youth, equipping them to thrive and contribute in their communities. In this series, you'll hear the powerful voices of alumni whose lives and legacies tell one story. No one gets there alone.
All right, today we get to continue our series that we've been building on here so far. And as we've shared before, I'm Aaron Story and the president and CEO of Elevate Indianapolis. In our 10th year of Elevate, one of the things we're doing this year is spotlighting alumni, both young and older alumni, that have been part of this long-term, life-changing legacies. Ultimately, on Elevate, we want to see our students graduate, become thriving contributors to their community, and how important it is that they thrive and contribute, and that you, as our supporters and volunteers, that's why you invest, give, volunteer, support, show the love that you do for us over the last 10 years. I've got a great new guest today. Excited to have Dave on, but first, introduce my constant co-host.
My name is Calvin Washington, graduated from George Washington High School in May, and I go to IU, and I will be graduating in 2029.
Man, every time you say it, it's just got a certain ring to it, Calvin.
Yeah.
How's that feel to say that I'm going to IU?
IU, it's one of the best colleges in Indy, so that's a fact.
I mean, so let's, before we get over to Dave, let him introduce himself here. So if we'd asked you 4 years ago, it was like, hey, Calvo, this is your life. You're going to be going to IU Bloomington. You'd be like, what would you have said?
No.
No way?
No way.
No way.
Going to college. I know.
And now if I'd asked your teachers, if I'd asked Mr. Dobbs, your 7th grade year, if I asked other teachers in middle school, would they have said they seen it in you, or they said, I don't know about this
they
one?
probably say
they probably would have said,
yeah,
okay.
That's something they always
all right, maybe you didn't see it, but other people saw it?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our guests, though. All right, so you want to introduce yourself, kind of tell everybody when you graduated, where you graduated from, high school-wise, just a little bit, and then we'll kind of get started, Dave.
My name is David Leye. I graduated class of 2024 from George Washington High School. I just finished my freshman year. Now I'm an incoming sophomore at the City College of New York, currently playing college basketball.
City College of New York.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that? So where is that? And we'll come back to where exactly is that at in New York for folks that have maybe been around the city?
It's in Manhattan. I would say more Harlem, kind of in the heart of the city. So it's pretty nice up there.
All right. And so to be clear, so I mostly know Dave, been around Dave because he has always has his best games against the team that I coach. I feel like he's always given us 20. And so I'm the boys' head coach at Purdue Poly, and but obviously in this set you've been with Elevate and Elevate alum, and so in this setting we're good. In those past years, it was always a problem because you was always giving my boys buckets. So, but hey, so tell everybody, what side of town did you grow up on? Were you born and raised in Indianapolis? Did you grow up here? Just kind of lay the land. Our people don't know anything about you. Let's help them get to know you.
Raised in Indianapolis. My family originates from Lagos, Nigeria. I grew up on the west side of Indianapolis. I've been here my whole life, basically.
Were you born here?
No, I was born in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then moved here.
Yeah.
And west side Indianapolis. So where out west? Like what, far west or?
My friends call it the 10th Street. So I lived on like 10th Street, west side of Indianapolis. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I live on 10th Street.
Yeah.
east side though. So
yeah,
the dime.
Side.
Okay. So family, tell us about who's your family life. So what's family? Is it family, cousins, moms, aunties? What's that like?
I currently stay with my 2 little brothers and my mom and my father.
Okay. And your little brothers, how old are they?
14 and 15.
14 and 15.
Yeah.
So athletes, hoopers, they follow in the family bloodline here, or what's that like?
3-sport athletes. Both of my little brothers play football, basketball, both run track.
So Dave, what's something that would be a core memory from childhood that maybe folks should know that, like, what really is a memory that you look back in your childhood through your teenage years, it would be like something that's really influential on you, like how it formed you to who you are, whether it be a high or a low, something you feel like is just big for folks to know about you?
I would say it's a collection of things pretty much. I can't really base it on one thing, but I do have a lot of core memories. I mean, since a kid, I've always been kind of like the quiet, close camp kid. I didn't really like do too much. I kind of always stayed to myself, but I did always like, put myself in like different activities like basketball. I used to draw a lot. I was always just that one kid that always wanted to do something. So, I mean, a core memory for me, most recently was maybe like when I was younger, I would say maybe like my freshman, sophomore year, even middle school is when I didn't make my basketball team. So I think that was a core memory. That kind of shaped me to who I am pretty much now, because it gave me like, it kind of like sharpened a tool in my brain to like kind of like make me into the man I am today.
So what year, because as obviously as a coach and been around the city of the basketball for a while now, what year didn't you make your team?
I didn't make the team my 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade year.
And you were in Ben Davis area, right?
Yeah.
So you never made the team in all them years, but you just stayed in the gym, you stayed working, and then you transferred your incoming 11th grade year, transferred to Washington.
Yeah.
All right. And then y'all won a sectional.
Yeah.
Right? So it went pretty good. So, all right, Calvin, what's something else in that top section you want to ask him, and then we'll get moving?
Dave, what childhood experience, like, you told us about basketball, but like, give us another experience that shaped you into where you are today.
Sound like you had a close family.
Yeah.
You stayed on the West Side. What's that like being on the West Side growing up for you? Like, what's those experiences like growing up as a kid, childhood?
I mean, I kind of like the West Side is what you make of it. Honestly, it's kind of like, my parents always kept me out of trouble. I always kept myself out of trouble. I was raised to just be disciplined and not like do stuff that I shouldn't be doing. Honestly, is what you make of it. Is like, if you want to dabble into bad stuff and become that type of kid, that's what you do. But me personally, I never really like would put myself in situations like that because I knew that's what I didn't want to do in my life. So, honestly speaking, like I said, I have a lot of childhood experiences.
Do you have friends? So you're talking about, so you obviously family raised you to stay out of it, but West 10th Street is like East 10th Street. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
Right? They don't call it the dirty dime for nothing. So, but you obviously stayed out, high character young man. Yeah. But did you have friends that you seen, like you talk about dabbling into some stuff, or people that just like, man, they went different directions and you had to go one way and they went another, or was that never was your childhood experience?
Most definitely had a few friends growing up, doing things I don't usually do. I never like was the one to judge or whatever, because that just, that sometimes is what all people know, and just growing around that and just seeing stuff like that, I just knew like, I ain't want to do it. So like, I'm still like, I would say I'm still cool with a lot of them, close with none of them, because, it is what it is. Like, I just grew with them. Those are just some people I'm just naturally cool with, just friends with, just bonds I haven't broke or probably won't break no time soon. But yeah, I most definitely did grow up around some people, some kids that like do some stuff they weren't supposed to be doing, just putting themselves in bad predicaments, things like that. But I just kind of knew like, growing up through life, being through my own personal experiences and just seeing the way the world is, it's kind of tough because that's all what people know. Sometimes people are born into that stuff. Sometimes people have to do the certain things they have to do, to survive in the area, the predicament they're in. So, I most definitely have seen my fair share, of things that wasn't supposed to be done, but I just made sure that I wasn't in it. And if I could, if they would listen to me, I advise my friends, to do the opposite route and, not put themselves in them bad situations.
Appreciate you sharing. So you came into George Washington your 11th grade year. Yeah. That's when you got exposed to Elevate, obviously. So you got plugged in. So let's talk about your class experience. Let's talk about looking back, those couple years in Elevate. Most of the other interviews that we've done for this series, students connected to it a lot longer. You came in, just had that 2-year experience, but obviously it meant something to you because you're here today and you kind of rode through that to the end. Looking back, who were those mentors that had a big experience with you? What were those classes? What's like, looking back on it, why did it mean something to you to be in Elevate those last couple years of high school, kind of those formative years?
Yeah, coming into Elevate, it was most definitely like a very, very eye-opening experience. I most definitely have met my fair share of good mentors. Started from Mr. Archie, my junior year. He was probably my first mentor. Another basketball guy, really good guy. And then, Mr. Theo, Mr. Rice. Even though she's not my mentor, she's still like close to me. Miss Simmons, those are like good people I've met through Elevate. They kind of just steer me in the right direction, always show me love. Mr. Theo, I'll call Mr. Theo, or he'll call me, yo, let's do this, let's do that. Mr. Rice, he'll try to link up with me, let's do this, let's do that. Mr. Archie, when he was, still at Elevate, he was always trying to do something with me, always trying to hoop. Not because it was their job. Sometimes they just feel like genuinely they're just trying to see a boy. They'll call me, hit me up while I was in school, make sure I was doing right. Not because they feel like they had to, just kind of feel like because they wanted to. Because I feel like at some point, if we got past the job part, it just feel like it was a genuine relationship. So my years in Elevate, they were but most definitely unforgettable. I appreciate everybody who I've been around. I mean, even me coming back this summer, I came to you see me at the, I don't know if you were there, but the Douglas Park golfing program, I went to that with them. I would go to more, but, life, it just get too busy sometimes. But yeah, most definitely is a reason why I come back and, still talk to them and still link up with them because, they have a close-knit part in my heart and they help me kind of build me into the person I am today, honestly.
Appreciate it. Calvin, I'm gonna let you jump in here in a second, but let me set up. So you're a year out of college. You just finished your first year in college basketball, New York City. That's pretty far from home. So obviously, how'd that come about? How'd this first year go, both academically, not just on the court, but now you're out. You're a young man. You're alumni age. So what's been that last year like? Kind of walking life out, being far from home, staying true to your values, core character, kind of who you were raised to be, who Elevate tried to influence you to be as well. What's that been like? And I'm gonna let Calvin kind of take it from here.
Leaving and going far away most definitely was like an eye-opening experience. Not just because like I was in New York, just the fact that I'm by myself in a different city, no connections for real. I most definitely would say it was a needed experience because I know myself. Like you throw me into the fire, I'm always survive. Like I know how to handle myself in certain situations. It's none I feel like you can't put me through that I won't figure out. I'm a problem solver. So like me going out there, I just do that. If I was to go out there, I could always handle myself and figure out what I got to do. So when I was out there, I most definitely, it was a new culture, new people. I had to learn. I'm still not really that familiar with the city, but I know how to go to plan A to plan B. I might get on the wrong train now and then, but I'm always figuring my way back home. So, it was most definitely different for sure. My teammates up there, they're pretty cool, made some cool connections. I still talk to some now and then. I was on the phone with some of them last night. So, yeah, it's most definitely a good eye-opening experience. I finished my freshman year with a 3.9. Feel me? That math class was, kicking my butt, but hey, it is what it is. And yeah, basketball-wise, I had a pretty decent year. Then, honestly, I'm a freshman. Didn't go the way I wanted to go, but, I still got some decent minutes. I started a few games. I was battling the injury, but I'm ready now to, go into war with my guys next season, so.
All right. Calvo?
Dave, can you tell me what your life is like right now? Like, I know we both in college. We still, developing and being young adults. Like, can you tell me, where you at right now in life?
Right now, I would say I'm on, my building phase, because I'm starting to get to that age where it's time to, everything gets serious. You got to start looking at everything all right, time actually matters. Like, if I put my time into something, it has to make me money or has to, add some type of value to my life, spiritually, mentally, or physically. So, usually, I'm always in the morning. I'm either getting up shots or in the gym, probably go to work, chill, go to the gym again, then, probably go to work again, then probably get some shots up again. So I'm probably working out about 2 to 3 times a day, and I'm always at work, So I'm most definitely just try to keep my life busy with consistency because I know when I'm growing up, I know as I'm keep growing, it's just something that I'm gonna have to live with. Being around my parents, they work a lot. Seeing my parents work a lot just for me and my brothers to just to do the things that we want to do now, I kind of figured out that, I have to like kind of jump into that because I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. But I know that it's starting blocks to where you want to be. You don't want to work hard when you're older. You want to get that done now when you're younger. So when you're older, you can live a calm, comfortable life. So that's what my life is looking like right now. Just working and hooping. Don't really go outside. Don't really do none of that. No parties, no nothing. Yeah.
Working and hooping.
Yeah.
Dave, when you talk about like the math class and the building phase, can you give me like a good definition of thriving? Like, so we both got to thrive in the courses of our life. Like, you a sophomore, I'm a freshman. So can you give me a definition of thriving?
What does it mean to thrive?
To prevail. I think thriving, I will more than say just means to prevail, because life isn't going to go the way we want it to go. You know, we're always going to go through some type of obstacle or tribulation to stop us from where we're trying to get. So it's really just more about how you go from it, and not about how you think of it too much. Because let's be real, you probably been through situations where like you didn't have time to think, you didn't have time to be sad. You probably been through that. You know, Cameron. You know, everybody's been through that at some point. So it's like that's what thriving is. Like you're probably in a tough position where you got to figure it out. So, you know, I've been through some positions like that, but I just had to thrive. You know, I had to kind of put my feelings to the side and said, man, forget it. Let me just keep pushing and moving forward. So I would say that's what thriving is, you know, figuring out different obstacles and just trying to get to where you're trying to get at and not letting it stop you for too long. Because it's okay to feel sad, bad about yourself now and then, but you shouldn't let that hold you down for too much longer, because if you do, it's just going to weigh you down.
Dave, when you say you got to put your feelings to the side, when you put your feelings to the side, what is something that you struggle with after high school that people don't usually see? How did you overcome it?
I would say a lot of people, I could speak from a personal experience. A lot of people just don't know how to, repeat that question. That was a good question.
So when you said like you put your emotions to the side and you keep going, like what is something after high school that you struggle with? Like you just finished your freshman year, so like you had your up and downs while you was in New York. So like what was how can I say it? Yeah. What did you struggle with and how did you overcome it?
I would say sometimes I'll be unfocused. There was a lot of stuff going on that was really out of my control. You know? So like me, the type of person I am, I kind of like to like make sure if anything's out of whack, I fix it. But like being away from home, it was just some stuff I couldn't do by myself, or couldn't try to figure myself and handle myself. So being away from home, knowing that was going on, I was just thinking like, dang, how can I figure it out? Can't. So I would say that was something that was like a problem for me and probably most kids. Like probably going away from school is probably some stuff that they have to tend to with the house. You know, probably some stuff that they're in charge of. You know, different kids have different responsibilities they don't always tell people about. And so I say that was probably just like a kind of like a problem for me, always focusing on my external problems. But it's kind of hard to focus on things that are out of your control. Because, you know, in the type of world we live in, a lot of stuff's going to happen that's out of your control. And you just got to deal with it the way you got to deal with it in the most positive manner. You don't want to affect you too long. So I would say that was probably my biggest problem.
It's good. One of the things I was just going to say, Calvo, is that in our conversations we've had, you've talked a lot about how supportive your family has been for you, like going to IU, going to groups this summer, getting ready to go to IU in the fall. How supportive your family has been to keep you focused on moving forward. You shared about your first to graduate high school on one side of the family, you first to go to college, and how your family really wants, like, they don't only want it, they expect it because they see that in you. Yeah. But you talked about how unique it is, and just David, kind of sharing this. You both have friends that maybe started off going off somewhere, but got pulled back in the family, got pulled back coming back home because there's stuff back at home they want to tend to, going back and forth from school on the weekends, maybe not finishing. And I've been at this long enough with, to almost 20 years of mentoring young people that went off to college, had a scholarship, whether it be hoops or academic, didn't get past that first semester, didn't get past that first year because they got so much stuff going back at home that they feel like they had to be back to support either siblings or family.
Yeah.
And so didn't get to pursue and finish that dream of finishing college or whatever that dream was. But it takes control what you can control, what you talked about, Dave. And it also takes support of family to say, no, we want you to be there. We want it to be. When you think about kind of what he shared, on that, you've talked about that in your episode, but also just offline, too, that struggle, that pull, when you see other kids going through that and maybe not advancing, not control what they can control, but getting distracted, stuff back home. You talk about some of the kids at Bloom that over the summer that were kind of struggling with that, kind of living life back home and not being fully present.
Yeah. I feel like when a lot of people, like when I went to college, I saw like a lot of people, they was worried about like mom, dad, and stuff like that. Like they evolve everybody else's life around them. And sometimes you got to just cut certain stuff out. Like my mom, I know my mom is good. So my mom called me. We'll probably be on the phone for like 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes is something that I always can remember. Like it's a good morning or hi, how you doing? How's class? And then I'll be like, I'm going to study. So she'd just hang up because she know I'm handling business. Because like she already had her life and now I'm just living mine. So
that's good. Let's get Dave back on the hot seat here. I don't want him to feel,
Dave, so you my brother, so
yes, sir.
So all the like we done been around a lot of old folks, like a lot of old folks to get to talking and like telling us like quotes and you should do this, you should do that. What is one lesson that you got told in your life that you could pass down to somebody younger, and why that quote and why that lesson?
Like you come back into Elevate. Let's say you come out of Elevate class, you're with this next generation. What would you tell them?
Sometimes you can't take no as an answer. A lot of times in life, we're going to be told that, nah, we're not going to be able to do this. Nah, you can't do that. Nah, I don't see you doing this. Sometimes you can't let people's vision on you affect your dreams or what you're trying to be in life. So that's why I come back and like preach, because if I listen to all the no's from the coaches that didn't want me, all the times, some people was putting me down because I was trying to chase a hoop dream. I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today because I didn't take no as an answer. I just put my head down and work. So I would say it was a collection of things. I would say it's not taking no as an answer and work harder. So, of course, in certain situations, you got to take no as an answer.
No,
yeah, because no is the answer. But like in a more of a sense, when it comes to like your dreams, your aspirations, to what you want to be in life, like who am I to tell Calvo that he can't be a business owner, a stockbroker? Who am I to tell him that he can't run a business on Wall Street? Like, why would I tell him no, he can't do that? I'm not Calvo. I don't have Calvo's brain. I should be uplifting Calvo. Who am I to put somebody down for trying to follow their dreams and passions? Of course, if it gets off the rails, I could advise you. But I'm always, if you're my boy, you're my dog. Not even if we just mutuals, and like you come to me about something that you're trying to do, I'm always put you up. I'm never gonna try to put you down. Regardless of how realistic or unrealistic it is, if I see you putting in the work, then it's always bound to happen sometime, some way. But if you're not putting in the work, opportunities won't present themselves.
Facts.
It's good.
And Dave, like growing up, like we both grew up through some stuff. Like you grew up West Side by Chapel Hill, man. David's like, what are some concerns that you have for Indianapolis that are causing barriers for young people to strive and be where they want to be in life?
Man, I would say a lot of kids nowadays, man, they just think that gun violence and, being in the streets and wanting to do this and wanting to do that is like the way to live. And I feel like that's not the way to live. I know I had spoke before on like, that's just what some people know, and that's just how some people were raised. But like, we could always break that cycle, Indiana, it gets wild past like 7, 8 o'clock nowadays. Feel me? You can't go downtown without seeing somebody clutching. So like,
what's that mean for our audience? So people that don't know what that means, just tell the onlookers who may not know what that means.
Somebody's
what's
gonna
clutching?
Somebody's gonna have a firearm on them. You never know. Somebody's gonna have a gun on them more than likely. Like you go downtown, you gonna see some kids older
babies,
than me.
Middle schoolers.
You gonna see middle schoolers. You gonna see some kids my age. You gonna see some kids younger than me, slightly older than me. They're gonna have guns on there. So like, you can't live in a city where you got to keep your head on the swivel, because you never know who's gonna run up on you, try to rob you. Some kids be beefing out here. Feel me?
Yeah.
Some kids gon', probably, God forbid, but, die to gun violence. Like, that's what's stopping us from being successful, because we're not even giving ourselves the chance to be successful, because we just kind of throw ourselves in situations that we could probably get out of. But nowadays, some people think it's cool. And honestly, to me, I feel like it's not the way to live. But I can't fault people if that's all they know. But I most definitely would advise people that that's not the way to go.
It's not it.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's good. So one of the things Calvo and I have in common that I didn't even realize, this is just kind of timing. So we did our violence prevention panels back in May. We was on the west side. We did our one over on the west side. Cal was riding back with me back to the east side to do what we call Hoopers for Peace. We did another panels, all got hoopers together, got some folks together, talk about violence prevention, how we can help show a different way. Kind of, Dave, to your point. But we're kind of chatting it up coming back from the west side to the east side. And I never knew this before. I've known him for some years now, that we both share in common that Walker, who died a couple of years ago to gun violence, was one of his guys growing up, was one of the guys that I coached, who stayed in my house, was one of my guys. And I got text stream from him back, his 11th, 12th grade years, played for my club team, had taken bullets before. And then we're driving out, we're just kind of talking or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, Walker." He's like, "Oh, that's my family. That's my cuz,"
Yeah.
And so, shared that memory, just kind of all the ways we knew him. He knew him differently than I did, obviously, but knew him. He stayed at my house, had been around my kids, family. And so think about people that only, to your point, living the life that they had seen, but also not choosing to see a different life, too, along the way. Anything you would just speak on this to his point of violence, because that is the topic of conversation in our city for sure. Not just you have from your experience, generation, but political leaders, business leaders, foundation people that are like funding and giving to groups like ours, like Elevate. It's a big topic of conversation, as it should be, because everybody feel like they have their head on the swivel, not just youth culture, but grown adults who don't want to come downtown now, that are owning businesses because they feel like, why would I go down there? It's, might get shot, or go to neighborhood parks like Hallville or Brookside or the Far East or the land out west or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of talking about this, like something's got to break here, because it's just not a way to live for our city. Calvin, what would you say on that? And then let's kind of put it back and give him one last question.
I will say that a lot of people they are so focused on Indianapolis, and my grandma and my aunties, they push me to where I'm at today. They always would tell me travel, when you get to where you at, travel, see the world. And I always I never knew that until I actually went to Atlanta with my with Elevate. And then when I saw we saw Atlanta, we was everywhere. So seeing more than Indianapolis and seeing that you can go somewhere without worrying about what's going back on in Indianapolis, everything is in behind you, and you're in Atlanta now, so you don't have to worry about stuff that's back in Indianapolis. And it's really up to you if you're gonna worry about that or you're not gonna worry about it. So
yeah,
gotta see it to be it, right?
Yeah, facts.
So you gotta see somewhere else so you can be somewhere else.
Facts.
That's good. That's a huge value. I'm glad you shared that. That's a huge value for Elevate in general, that we give students exposure opportunities, whether it be visiting companies or colleges or different states over the summer. Girls basketball team, I coach Elevate Hoops team. We had a couple of interns with us that are shooting pictures. And as we was crossing over the Ohio line, one of our students took a phone out, took a picture of the Welcome to Ohio, because he'd never been to Ohio before. It was, Ohio was an hour and a half away. But he'd never been to Ohio. He took a picture and he was like, he's never been here. And then the next week we was going camping, went down to Kentucky, and had a bunch of students never been camping before. And so I think whether it's Atlanta, which is a whole different, right? A whole different, vibe, big trip, or it's just something local. If it's the first time you've been somewhere that you never seen nobody, how they live and what they've been to, it's just different, right? You get a chance to see something else. But so I'm glad you shared that, Calvo. What's one last question? So help him to kind of speak to the world a little bit, kind of on that tip, or something different that you want to help Dave land with.
Who in your life has had the biggest impact on you, and what did they teach you?
Biggest influences in your life, either way back or recent.
Yeah, you could think beyond Chapel Hill, anything.
I got a whole bunch. I got a lot. But I would say from a day-to-day basis, it would be my little brothers. You know, being the oldest brother, I gotta be like the best influence they have. You know, like they look up to me. Believe it or no, like when my parents used to tell me, you gotta be the good example. Your brothers are watching you. I used to be like, man, they have their own brain. They're gonna do what they want to do. As I'm seeing them grow, they got some of my mannerisms.
Yeah,
talk the way I talk, might walk the way I walk. Like I was seeing both of my brothers.
Yeah,
like you see how they act. So like, you know, I would just say like, be the best influence I could be. That's like a big like influence, inspiration in my life, because when I look at them, I look at me. It's like if I become a better version of myself and show them that anything is possible, they're gonna pick up from that and, you know, do what they got to do as well. Like they play sports, they play basketball, football.
Yeah, let's say one playing football.
Yeah,
going crazy.
Track, yeah, he killing. You know,
both sports.
So like, but I won't say that just for me, but he most definitely was like, man, he doing it, I could do it too. I went to school to go play ball. He's like, oh yeah, I could do it too. But now they're doing it from different avenues. I was just doing it from basketball. Both of them was doing it from 3 different sports. And they, so like, you know, they put in work too. You know, they work out with me too sometimes. You know, so like,
can they give you buckets?
No.
Let's say get it on right now. We'll get it on right now. So I know your freshman brother. He's pretty good. I've seen some of his highlights.
Yeah.
Be honest. How long is it going to take for him to be able to give you buckets? Never.
They're gonna give him some buckets.
Look at that camera right now, because we're gonna put this out there. So tell them. I'm gonna tell. They're gonna watch this. The whole world's gonna see this. Dave, tell them. Now they're not ever gonna be able to give you buckets.
Look, through my 19 years of living, my brother has never been.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great job, Dave. Thanks for being on and sharing. I appreciate you, Calvo. Good job as always. Thanks to all our guests, listeners. Like this, follow this, share this. Obviously, we just thank you for investing, giving, making the work of Elevate possible. Help us spread the word. 10 years of long-term life-changing legacies. These young men are building great legacies for them and their families and beyond. Thanks for making it possible.
Thank you for listening to 10 years of long-term life-changing legacy of Elevate. The stories you've heard remind us that lasting change happens through long-term relationships, and that no one gets there alone. As we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we invite you to join us in shaping the next decade of impact. Be part of our 50 and 10 campaign by helping us add 50 new recurring donors during this milestone year. You can also add Elevate to your planned giving or volunteer to invest directly in the lives of Indianapolis students. Learn more and get involved at elevateindy.org. Together, we can continue building long-term life-changing legacies.